Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. I'm Rebecca and today we're going to be drawing Stitch as a person. So Stitch is one of my favorite characters. He is crazy, he is like sweet, and he is adorable. I am slightly obsessed with Stitch. I have a Stitch AirPods case, as you can see right there. I have Stitch slippers, I have a Stitch hat. I have like 3 Stitch shirts. I know that's not like a ton of like Stitch stuff, but I really like Stitch. Stitch is one of the few characters that I like have merch of. And then I also have like stuff for like Groot, and those are 2 characters that like I love. But I really wanted to draw Stitch as a person because I thought I could make him adorable. I thought he would be like a 12 to 13 year old like boy. And I don't draw many young children or boys. I typically draw girls, and they're usually like 20, mid-teens. So it was a big change, but I think I really captured the youth of Stitch, because Stitch is like he acts like a child or like a puppy or animal. So like you know what I'm talking about, like how animals are kind of like babies and they always need to be taken care of when you have a pet. Like there's never a point where you stop having to feed the pet or stop having to bring it to the bathroom or something like that. There's never a point where that ends. Like they get older and they get a little bit more independent, but you'll always need to help them in some way, kind of like that. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about my struggle with his clothes. Stitch doesn't wear clothes, obviously, and at first I was gonna draw him in this sweatshirt with the t-shirt underneath, but then I didn't like that, so I ditched that idea. But I did sketch it out fully and like flesh it out before I scrapped that, because I thought it would be smarter to try and draw it and have it not turn out the way I want completely than to not try to draw it at all. So I did try to draw it, and I think it turned out good, but it's just not Stitch enough, and I was like, he lives in Hawaii eventually, so I kind of take inspiration from that, but for now I stick with the like sweatshirt, t-shirt, not baggy, like almost oversized pants, but they still fit him, like, you know what I'm talking about, kind of like sweatpants, or I don't know if you guys have like I don't. They're like the fashionably baggy pants, but they don't like. I'm not talking about the stupid trend of guys not wanting to use their belts, because that was really stupid. Can we just take a moment to recognize the fact that that was one of the stupidest things as a society we let people do? We let people walk around with their pants like halfway off their bodies. And we were just all fine with it. I was not. Most people I knew were like talking about how stupid it was. So if you were in on that trend and you did it make you feel happy? Did it make you feel comfortable? Because I feel like that would make you feel uncomfortable, knowing that your pants could just completely fall down to your ankles at any minute. But that's just my opinion. And then I drew another pose of Stitch in like sitting down with his hands resting on his legs, and I was just sketching out some more character like design poses for Stitch's person. And eventually I drew that little sketch right there that is right next to the first sketch I did of him as a person with a hat. And I was like, I like the hat idea, so I carried it onto this slightly bigger sketch of him. And then I move on to this page and I sketch out a body for him. And I feel like I made him a little bit too tall in this specific pose, or this specific body drawing, because I just feel like he's a little too long in this, and I didn't really get his face right in this final one, but I did get his clothes like finally the way I wanted it in this. So at first I tried the sweatshirt idea, and then I tried to do stripes or like V shapes down the shirt, but then that didn't really turn out. So then I erased it and I tried to do sweatshirt again, and then I sketched something a little in the corner, and I decided to go with the sweatshirt, like one of those sweatshirts you pull over, like a hoodie, and then a Hawaiian shirt on top. You know, I'm talking about the ones with like the flower patterns, or like parakeets. Like they're pretty like lightweight shirts that you see a lot of people wear when they go to Hawaii. I know people know what I'm talking about. It's that. And then I also gave him shorts instead of those baggy pants, because I was like, the sweatshirt is already very heavy for someone who lives in a fairly hot climate. So I was like, that's probably not the best idea for him to be wearing these baggy pants and these boots and this sweatshirt, and like all piled on top of each other. And at first that jacket was a leather jacket on top of a sweatshirt. You know those jackets? That kind of jacket, which are super warm and super like cozy, but they would kill you if you were wearing it in summer, because it's just so hot. So I think a sweatshirt was not a sweatshirt, a hoodie on top of underneath the Hawaiian shirt was the best call I could have made for his clothes. So that was basically what I did. And now I'm just going in and refining it a little bit, just doing a little crocheting, just sketching. Like, I got into the sketching process, and I think I'm probably gonna draw Angel. So like this video if you want to see that. And now I'm going into it digitally and trying to create a finished illustration of the new Stitch and adding color and everything. So we're just getting into it. I'm sketching very lightly at first because I just want to get down my basic blueprints. I don't like sketching very dark at first. I like starting light and then going darker slowly, because if I start sketching dark first, it just turns out really bad. The anatomy is usually pretty bad. The whole face usually gets messed up. So I just like to start sketching really light at first. I'm sorry, I was just telling my sibling to go away because she's staring at me and I do not like it. It made me very uncomfortable. So when I was drawing his face, it made me think I am literally, like, subconsciously emulating the Lilo and Stitch style, but like in my own way. Get out. Like, she won't leave. Okay. And while I was sketching, I was also doing this. It was not intentional or on purpose, but I did make him look similar to Lilo and Stitch. And once well, not similar to Lilo and Stitch, like the Lilo and Stitch style, which is not the typical Disney style. It's a little bit more chunky. I have no other or better way to explain that, but it's a little bit more chunky artwork, and I really like that. So I really like that a lot. So I decided to make him like a little bit darker skinned. He's not black, but he could be like Asian in some sort of way, or Filipino, that kind of thing. Which Filipino is Asian, so I don't know why. Sorry. So then I started like adding color in, and I used the colors from Stitch. I really didn't differentiate from those. I didn't go another way than those colors. So I stuck to the colors that he had, except I made the hat a little bit lighter than the color around his eyes, because I was like, I want it to be like a little bit different. And I made his hoodie the darkest. Why? I don't know. I kind of should have made his hoodie the lightest and then made his shirt darker, but I was like, a typical Hawaiian shirt is lighter than like what you'd have typically. But I think it looks good right now, and I'm doing a little bit of shading and I'm just adding like all those touches that you need to make like a drawing come to life. Like, I like some flat art, and by flat I don't mean like not done well or like plain. I mean like flat colors. But in my style, I just like shading. I like how it looks. I think it looks better once it's shaded. But for other people's styles, it sometimes looks better with no shading or with cell shading, which is different than my type of shading, which is blending and that kind of thing. I did do a little bit of cell shading in this, but I kind of blended out a little bit. But yeah, I do add blush and I add highlights, but then in the end I take the highlights away, but I keep the blush because I really like the blush. And the reason I did pink in the background is because if I do Angel, I want her to have blue in the opposite in the background for like the coloring. And I did do a little bit different style of editing for this video because I just wanted to be a little different. I wanted to be a little bit more interesting, so you get to see my process, because I did a screen recording instead of just filming my Procreate screen. So I hope you guys like this video. See you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!